Have you ever felt that shiver down your spine? A silent alarm that makes you question everything around you. That feeling that something isn't quite right, even when it seems to be. This is excessive distrust, a shadow that often accompanies us, transforming the world into a stage of potential threats. But what truly lies behind this constant vigilance? And what if nature, in its ancient wisdom, could offer us clues to understand, and perhaps even tame, this very human instinct? Prepare for a fascinating journey where the cunning of a wild animal will guide us through the labyrinths of our own minds, revealing how nature can help us decipher one of the most complex human behaviors. Excessive distrust is far more than mere caution. It's a lens through which the world is constantly filtered, tinged by shadows of doubt and suspicion. Imagine living in a permanent state of alert, where every interaction, every word, every silence is meticulously analyzed in search of an ulterior motive, a hidden trap. It's like having an internal radar that's always on, picking up signals of danger that often exist only in the mind. For those who experience this emotion, spontaneity becomes a huge risk. Emotional surrender seems like a dangerous vulnerability, and the very idea of letting down one's guard becomes terrifying. This constant vigilance comes at a high cost. The mind is perpetually exhausted, drained by the incessant task of anticipating the worst. People with excessive distrust tend to interpret ambiguity as a threat. A friend running late? They're avoiding me. A colleague who didn't respond to a message immediately. They're mad at me or ignoring me on purpose. This cognitive overload not only undermines mental well-being, but also sabotages relationships. In daily life, distrust can manifest in various subtle and not-so-subtle ways. Within the family, there might be difficulty accepting compliments or gestures of affection, always questioning the authenticity behind them. An unexpected gift might prompt the question, what does this person want in return? At a dinner with friends, the distrustful person might feel detached, observing interactions with a skeptical eye, interpreting laughs and whispers as signs that they are being gossiped about or criticized. The genuine joy of others might be viewed with suspicion, as if there were something false in their happiness. In a professional setting, excessive distrust can make teamwork impossible. Delegating tasks becomes a torment, as there is a deep-seated belief that no one else will do the job as well or as honestly. Collaboration is viewed with apprehension, and the need for control intensifies. The fear of being deceived, undermined, or sabotaged by colleagues becomes a constant phantom, eroding productivity and morale. Team meetings, which should be forums for ideas, transform into arenas where every word is weighed and every agreement is viewed with reservations. Romantic relationships are perhaps the most barren ground for distrust. Jealousy becomes a parasite that devours intimacy. A simple like on a social media photo can trigger a heated argument. The need to check messages, control schedules, and question every step of a partner transforms the relationship into a constant interrogation, where mutual trust, the foundation of any lasting love, is eroded by doubt. It's a painful cycle. Distrust leads to distance, which in turn can be misinterpreted as confirmation of initial suspicions, further feeding the pattern. This incessant vigilance doesn't protect. Rather, it isolates, building an invisible wall between the person and the world, preventing the formation of deep bonds and the living of a full life. When seeking a vivid representation of distrust and vigilance, it's almost impossible not to conjure the image of the fox. This slender carnivore, with its elegant silhouette and stealthy movements, is in its essence the personification of cunning and calculated prudence. The fox is not merely an opportunistic hunter. It is a master of survival, endowed with a keen instinct for self-preservation that keeps it constantly attuned to its surroundings, assessing every rustle of the wind, every scent in the air, and every shadow that lengthens. Its choice of habitat, often the edges between open fields and dense forests, exposes it to a myriad of challenges. Natural predators like wolves and birds of prey, but also increasing human presence. To thrive in this ecological niche, the fox has developed a repertoire of behaviors that border on genius. Its senses are finely calibrated tools for detecting threats and opportunities. Its extraordinarily acute sense of smell allows it to identify the presence of other animals or the trail of a predator from afar. Its hearing, with ears that can rotate independently, picks up even the faintest sounds, like the rustle of a leaf or the beating of an insect's wings, alerting it to the slightest change in the environment. Its eyes, though adapted for nocturnal vision, possess remarkable acuity, constantly scanning the horizon. Observe a fox in its daily routine. It doesn't impulsively venture into unknown territory. Before crossing an open field, it will pause strategically, observing, sniffing, and listening, as if processing a complex map of risks and rewards. Its movements are deliberate, often utilizing natural cover, such as bush or uneven ground, to move unnoticed. When hunting, discretion is its greatest ally. It approaches its prey with an almost meditative patience, minimizing noise and waiting for the precise moment to pounce, always with an escape plan in mind should the situation turn dangerous. Even its social structure reflects caution. Although they form small family groups for raising kids, foxes are generally solitary creatures, maintaining a certain distance from individuals not belonging to their immediate core. This independence is a form of self-protection and a way to avoid unnecessary conflicts over territory or resources. They are masters of dissimulation and evasion, using their impressive agility and intelligence to escape dangerous situations. Often, a fleeing fox will perform unexpected maneuvers, like rapid zigzags or abrupt changes in direction, to throw off its pursuers. The fox not only exemplifies vigilance, but also the practical intelligence that accompanies a state of constant alert, teaching us that being watchful is not a sign of weakness, but rather a fundamental strategy for survival in an unpredictable world. The link between the vigilant fox and excessive human distrust is more than a simple analogy. It's a mirror reflecting instinctive behavioral patterns aimed at self-protection. Both, in essence, share an innate predisposition for a constant state of alert, a fundamental need to scan the environment for signs of danger, whether these are lurking predators or questionable human intentions. Just as the fox lives in an ecosystem where threats can emerge at any moment and from any direction, the human who leans towards excessive distrust perceives their own existence as a minefield of falsehoods, betrayals, and potential traps. Consider the fox that, upon approaching a clearing, abruptly stops. It sniffs the air with its sensitive nose, scans the horizon with its keen eyes, and tilts its ears to catch the faintest sounds before deciding if the next step is safe. This deliberate, scrutinizing posture is the behavioral equivalent of the individual who, before trusting a new person or situation, dissects every word spoken, every facial expression, every gesture. There's an incessant search for inconsistencies, for signs that something might be wrong, even if the surface appears calm. The sensory scan of the fox is mirrored in the exhaustive mental reading the distrustful person performs during every social interaction, looking for an ulterior motive to justify their state of alert. The way the fox skillfully avoids traps or throws off its pursuers, using its cunning and agility, finds an echo in how the distrustful human builds emotional barriers and distancing strategies to protect themselves from potential disappointments or betrayals. Just as the fox often operates discreetly, preferring observation to direct confrontation, and maintaining a safe distance, the distrustful person may socially withdraw, avoiding the vulnerability that genuine proximity and trust inevitably demand. The risk of openness for both seems to outweigh any benefit. Both the fox and the distrustful human operate under the imperative of anticipating dangers. For the fox, This means predicting the movement of an elusive prey or the imminent arrival of a predator. For the human, it means anticipating ill intentions, falsehoods, or imminent deception in the other's words and actions. It's a self-protective mechanism taken to an extreme, where caution, which should be a virtue, becomes a paralyzing obstacle to forming deep and meaningful connections. The fox cannot afford to be naive in the wild. Similarly, the distrustful person firmly believes they cannot allow themselves to be vulnerable or credulous, resulting in a protective isolation that, paradoxically, deprives them of enriching experiences and the support that mutual trust can offer. Excessive distrust, from the perspective of psychology and neuroscience, can be understood as a manifestation of hypervigilance, an elevated and persistent state of attention to stimuli that may be interpreted as threatening, whether real or purely imaginary. In the intricate functioning of the human brain, this condition is intrinsically linked to the incessant activity of the amygdala, a crucial neural structure located in the limbic system. The amygdala is the command center for processing primary emotions such as fear, anxiety, and the response to threats. When this brain region is in a constant max alert state, even neutral or ambiguous stimuli can be mistakenly interpreted as dangerous, generating a distorted and magnified perception of reality. In-depth studies in neuroscience have revealed that individuals with a pronounced predisposition to distrust may exhibit neural pathways that are more sensitive and reactive to negative stimuli. This means their brain circuits are more efficient and quicker at detecting and processing information that signals potential danger compared to those who are less distrustful. This heightened sensitivity can be the result of a series of factors, including past experiences marked by trauma, significant disappointments, or having grown up in unstable and unpredictable environments. These experiences can effectively train the brain to remain in a constant state of alert, as if the internal alarm system were permanently in super detection mode, frequently triggering false positives. Parallel to this, in animal biology, the vigilance observed in the fox and other animals that are either prey or need to hunt cautiously is a classic example of natural selection in action. Over generations, individuals with a greater capacity for vigilance and threat detection possessed an undeniable adaptive advantage, increasing their chances of survival and, consequently, reproduction, perpetuating this trait in their offspring. The fight-or-flight response, an ancient and universal physiological mechanism, is constantly activated in the fox. This response is mediated by the release of stress hormones, such as cortisol and adrenaline, which prepare the body for immediate action, sharpening the senses, increasing heart rate, directing blood to the muscles, and accelerating reasoning and decision-making. The scientific connection between human and animal behavior is therefore intrinsic. In both humans and foxes, vigilance is, at its origin, a fundamental strategy for survival and protection against danger. The crucial distinction lies in the complexity of human cognition. While the fox calibrates its distrust based on concrete and immediate environmental stimuli, the human has the capacity and the burden to rationalize, recall, and often distort this strategy. We project internal fears based on past experiences or future anxieties onto present situations that, objectively, do not pose a real threat. In terms of evolutionary psychology, this human predisposition to distrust was, in ancestral environments full of dangers and uncertainties, a valuable tool for the species' survival. However, in the context of the modern, socially complex, and often safe world, this same predisposition, when taken to excess, can become a source of suffering, isolation, and anxiety, activating an overloaded defense mechanism where there is no longer a proportional threat. Excessive distrust, with its fox-like essence of vigilance, weaves itself into the fabric of everyday life, manifesting in scenarios that, to an outside observer, might seem completely harmless, but to the distrustful mind are loaded with potential threats. Telling small stories or hypothetical cases helps us illustrate this profound connection. Example 1. The silence in the group chat. Think of Maria, who's always been the organizer of everything in her friend group. She sends a message proposing a weekend get-together with several date and location options. Minutes pass, and the group remains silent. While most would think they're just busy or discussing privately, Maria's mind, like a fox sniffing the air for predators, goes into panic mode. Are they ignoring me? Don't they like my suggestions anymore? Are they planning something without me and don't want me to know? She starts rereading past conversations, looking for signs of distancing, and feels a pang of anxiety with every minute that passes without a reply. Her tail is constantly twitching, seeking confirmation of a threat that, in reality, might just be her friend's distraction. Example 2. The subtle criticism at work. Joe is a talented graphic designer, but his insecurity is fertile ground for distrust. He presents a project to a client who praises the work but suggests it could be a bit bolder or have a more modern touch. For Joe, operating in vigilant fox mode, this isn't constructive feedback. Immediately, he interprets. Does he think my work is outdated? Did he not really like it and is just being polite? Is he going to replace me with another professional? Joe spends the next few days in a state of self-questioning, revisiting every detail of the project, looking for flaws to justify the veiled criticism instead of focusing on improvement. He feels like a fox that detected a strange scent in the territory and now needs to meticulously investigate. Example 3. The new neighbor and the open window. Donna Beatrice, a retired lady with plenty of free time, has developed acute distrust. A young couple moves into the house across the street. From day one, she observes their movements. When she sees the husband leaving for work in a suit and tie, she thinks, how strange, he dresses so formally. Does he have something to hide? No one dresses like that every day. When the wife receives an unexpected visitor, Donna Beatrice mutters, "Who could that be? They don't seem to have many friends around here." She spends hours watching the activity in the neighbor's house, interpreting every light on or car parked as an indication of something suspicious. Her mind becomes a true observation post, like a fox on a hilltop, attentive to every detail in the valley below, transforming others' routines into an intriguing mystery that feeds her need to always be on alert. These vivid examples show us how excessive distrust, much like the instinctive and cunning vigilance of a fox, not only shapes how we interpret the world, but also leads us to construct scenarios of danger and betrayal where, in the vast majority of cases, there is nothing but normal and innocent situations. The mind, trained for threat, stubbornly finds it even when it doesn't overtly manifest, turning life into a constant investigation. By delving into the analogy between the vigilant fox and excessive human distrust, we are invited on a journey of profound introspection and self-discovery. The fox, in its essence, offers a primal lesson. Caution and vigilance are indispensable tools for survival in a world that is undeniably full of uncertainties and challenges. It is not a naive animal. On the contrary, it is a paradigm of adaptive intelligence, cunning, and a keen awareness of the real dangers in its surroundings. The fox teaches us that a balanced dose of prudence is not only sensible, but vital for navigating life. However, the mirror the fox offers also reflects a crucial point, the threshold, where healthy vigilance transforms into a debilitating burden. Unlike the fox, which operates under the imperative of physical and objective threats from the environment, the human has the complex ability to project internal fears, past traumas, and future anxieties onto situations that, in present reality, are harmless. This projection transforms caution into an overly heavy armor that, paradoxically, prevents us from forming authentic connections and experiencing life to its fullest. The fox, once danger passes, relaxes, hunts with less tension, and finds rest in its den. But what about us? Are we capable of lowering our internal guard when the threat is merely an echo of our mind? The great wisdom that emanates from this connection lies in the pursuit of balance. We can, and should, learn from the fox to be insightful, to observe meticulously, and to analyze the scenario before acting. But the true human challenge is to develop the wisdom to discern when this vigilance, once a protective instinct, becomes an excess that imprisons us instead of protecting us. Self-knowledge emerges as the master key to this distinction. By investigating the triggers of our own distrust, the old wounds, the past disappointments, the deep insecurities that fuel it, we can begin to deactivate this internal alarm system that operates in overdrive, freeing ourselves from its tyranny. We can honestly ask ourselves, is this threat I perceive now real and present, like an imminent predator for the fox? Or is it merely a shadow of the past, a projection of my own fears and the pain I have already experienced? By learning to make this crucial distinction, we pave the way for the possibility of trusting more, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, and experiencing the lightness and depth of genuine human relationships. The fox, with its precarious and beautiful existence, reminds us of our innate capacity to survive. But the supreme challenge of the human condition is to go beyond mere survival and learn to thrive, to flourish, to find beauty and connection in a world that, although imperfect, is also abundant in kindness and opportunities. May we then be as cunning and observant as the fox, but with the superior wisdom not to let the shadow of distrust blind us to the vast and luminous landscape of life.